Auburn University Marching Band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the Speed Metal Kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage with the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
It's Sunday night once again, and that means it's time for another live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast. This is the flagship show of everything we do here at E2C Network, where we share the Auburn Experience. 2 major topics coming your way, as well as catching you up on all the latest Auburn news in Auburn potpourri. Let's get into episode 138 right now. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it. What did I just do there? Quantify it through a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart and at its core, the Auburn experience is all about a few things: Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it, though, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing today, episode 138 of the Auburn Experience podcast. As always, I'm your one host, Kyle Loomis, the one that's got it together this weekend. There was no travesties to start off the show this week. But I'm here alongside my good friend and yours, the guy who's always got a cooler head than me. That is Mr. Austin Scott. Welcome back.
Good to see you, Kyle. War Eagle to everyone listening and watching. Hope everyone's having a great week. And yeah, it's good to be back. The smell is in the air, Kyle.
Smell is in the air, and that was not my brain cells frying last week. For everybody who watched me included, I went back and watched that segment of me just losing my mind, and that's only like a taste of what happened pre-show. Austin got to witness. We're good. We're here today, and yes, I agree with you. The whiff of fall, the whiff of football, the whiff of just another athletic calendar year, academic calendar year. I think. Can we agree, Austin? This is the beginning of the year, essentially, for what we, the Auburn family, kind of consider. Is that fair? It's kind of like
100%. It is very fair. It is, especially living here. This is your world revolves around the calendar here, and so it is back up and running, and everything will be real gung ho here in a couple weeks. But it's here, man.
It's here. It's going on right now. We've got soccer already playing. They've had 2 matches already. Fortunately, did drop one to a tough Louisville team, and did just right now against Sanford go 0-0. That's one of my biggest pet peeves in soccer is the tie and the fact that you can end on a 0-0 score. I'm not going to get into that tonight, but we'll update you on them throughout the season as that's going. But we want to make sure we at least give you the really quick news that's even happening as we start the show this evening. 2 matches into the season in the James Armstrong era. Obviously, a lot more to go for them. Before we get into potpourri, we always like to just get the juices rolling here. You've already kind of addressed it, Austin. You as a resident can speak to this. What's it going to be like tomorrow, man? I mean, school starts. Campus is buzzing. Moving's done. Are you as excited as a resident?
Yeah, well, I won't see a lot of it tomorrow while I'll be at my other job. And so I think, excuse me, I can tell you right now, I was at Walmart 2 hours ago, and there is no eggs, no milk, no cheese, no deli meat there. So it is buzzing. Traffic is definitely has picked up. Church was a lot busier today with college kids back, and town is full again. And so, that's part of it. Living here, it's a great thing, and sometimes it feels like a burden too, but it's part of it, and I wouldn't change it. It's good to have them here. It all mellows out once we get in the thick of school and everything, and certainly weekends will get even busier once home games start. But
yep.
They're here, and they're here to stay. I think bid day was on Saturday, and so the party has begun.
Listen, I even forgot about bid day this year because I feel like I missed it or something like that. Or usually that I'm a little bit more on top of that. Those are like the markers is the
That's right.
amphitheater show from the band, which we referenced last year, bid day, move in weekends, because really it kind of happens over 2 weekends, it seems like.
Yeah, I saw right before we got on that convocation was happening
There
tonight
you
at
go.
7 o'clock. It's in the stadium now, and the band was on the field, and so it is all those markers. We walked campus. Gosh, what was it? 2 or 3 nights ago. Had to go see Avi, obviously, and we could hear like this commotion on the green space, and it was one of I think it's Student Affairs and UPC's 56 events to start the year. And that's a true number. First 56.
He's not lying.
So that is not a just pull
lying.
out of the hat number. The first 56, and so that it's all those markers, like you said, that show it's back, and that just means we're one step closer to Jordan Hare filling up with the Auburn family again, and away we go.
And away we go, and away we are going. But before we get into and there's a lot of that this evening, kind of putting those final pieces into place before we really kick up especially the athletics calendar year. I want to ask you this, Austin. How would you feel, and maybe you saw this tweet, if Auburn was not immediately on a list of the top football helmets in college football? Like, how would that make you feel?
I would, this is the Auburn Experience show, so no one's gonna be surprised by my response here, but I would feel that is incorrect. The Auburn lids are as classic as any to me.
Can we agree? And we're acknowledging our bias here. I mean, right there. I mean, maybe that's not the best representation of it.
Well, it's the old school one.
It's the old school one.
Classic.
Can we just agree that any list that includes something plain and boring like Notre Dame? Oh, and the camera almost fell.
It did not.
He's gonna get a prop. He's got to get a prop.
Now I got it.
There we go. That's a little bit better. We can actually see the 3D version of it.
So
Any list that includes some bland. Yeah, that was actually a slip of the tongue, but I meant it. Boring. Just one single tone color. I'm not saying there can't be pretty elements to it, like Notre Dame. Notre Dame's classic. Look, I got it. It's cool. Yeah, it's gold. All the things.
It's different.
But you don't have anything else to it other than it's gold. How can that be? Just because of history, that's it. And Auburn's not on that list immediately. Well, what I'm referencing, I think ESPN put out their list this week. Yes. Maybe you saw it. Something like that.
Well, and the example too, I can give a little more credit to Notre Dame with its gold. It's sparkly. It's different. And I don't remember who all's on the list, but I am in agreement with you on ones like our friends in State College and Penn State. It's just a white helmet.
It's just
it's just a white helmet. I think people give more credence to the stickers, but it's Ohio State. It's just a gray helmet.
It's just
they get a bunch of stickers, but
my
kids love stickers too. Okay, and they're 2.5, so it's just a gray helmet. You can't tell me this isn't one of the best.
Listen, the power stripe would just the classic, but so good looking AU. Let's add a white face mask on that.
Orange, but yes.
No, Austin. We're not going to start this. We're not going to start this season. Anyway, I just had to bring that up because I saw that this week. I'm like, how on earth are two just bland looking helmets on this list? And Auburn is not even, they had a who else type of section on it. But I'm like, how do you not put Auburn on there right? That's my rant for the week. I'm sticking to it. Just wanted to throw that out there to get us going, get the juices flowing for episode 138, Auburn potpourri time. All the latest Auburn news that is not going to be covered in our main topics. We're going to do the football stuff last because I feel like we're going to end up spending way more time. The football practice stuff and updates from the week. We're going to always give you some of that during fall practice. Let's start off with something that is football related, though, but it's more about the fan experience, something that was announced this week. And yes, this is something that you're going to have a little bit of cash money to be able to utilize.
Cash money, like Kyle has.
Yes, still trying to figure out how we get to Hawaii with that.
That's right.
That imaginary money for the Maui Invitational in the future, or to the men's golf tournaments out there for the Mirror Ari Invitational. Anyway,
yes,
what we're talking about is a brand new option for you to not only tailgate but do Tiger Walk that was announced this week by the Auburn Athletic Department, the 984 Club Game Day Tailgate. Now, this is technically baseball related, but not during baseball season. This is the club area and space as I understand it for some of the club access levels for Plainsman Park, but now it is going to be utilized as I think that's the space they utilize too as well for Tiger Talk, if I'm not mistaken, or some.
I think that's right. Yeah,
but you can now and we got a couple more details we can share here. Have a tailgate space and have an open air upper aerial view of Tiger Walk. Let's not talk about price yet, Austin.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You tell me I have to pay for Tiger Walk, Kyle, now? Is that what you're saying? You say I have to pay to go to Tiger Walk?
You have the option to pay to go to Tiger Walk. Yes.
See, I saw some people saying I had to pay to go to Tiger Walk now. And they're just monetizing everything these days. Like, I can't believe. So I don't have to pay to go to Tiger Walk.
You don't have to pay to go to Tiger Walk unless you want to and have a really unique space. So, yes, let's address the usual overreactions to these type of things.
I don't have to pay to go to Tiger Walk.
Now, Austin may react this way once he hears the price of this thing. But let me ask you, just from the concept of loan, before you hear price, what's it sound like to you? Air conditioning? Open air?
I thought you were going to have me guess the price.
You can guess the price if you like, but I'm just...
it's going to be way under what I think it is. No, it sounds great. It sounds like a perfect view. It sounds like nice air conditioning. You always get to see Tiger Walk as a good... Now, this is the traditionalist and
sure.
Tiger Walk, part of it is getting a little pushed around and trying to fight to get your favorite
sweaty.
high five and sweaty and see all the things. But, if you're already looking for a nice tailgate spot that's full of AC and you got the bill to foot it, then that sounds like a pretty good spot for me.
Yeah. You want to take a shot at that price?
Per game or per season?
This is it says each season long membership cost per person for the season.
Per person for the season.
So what for you to have access to the season long to this tailgate space? So for 7 games, I think is what it is. What do you got?
I'm terrible at this. I'll say 5,500.
5,500 is way too expensive.
Okay,
1,350.
Oh, see, you got that. Season. That's fine.
No, look, I am.
I honestly, I wanted to say, I really wanted to say 1,500, but I was like, I don't know it. I don't know what these things are. I was trying to think of here's my thought process. I was trying to think of like the boxes in the stadium, like Plainsman Park that are like, but that's obviously a lot more games. And I think you get to sit down and I think that's like 5, but okay. So I was way off. I told you I would be.
No, you were a little bit off in your initial guess, but $1,350 per person for the season-long membership. Access to the 984 Club, which if you don't know what that is, that's the distance from Omaha to Auburn, which is why it's called the 984 Club.
Creative.
Is very creative and very well done in marketing. So kudos to whoever did that. For every home game, complimentary food buffet, non-alcoholic beverages, full cash bar for those of you that partake, numerous televisions showing SEC and national football coverage, private air-conditioned indoor setting with lounge seating, access to private restrooms, live view and open air experience of Tiger Walk from inside the club. It opens at 8 a.m. on morning games, 11 a.m. on any games after 2:30 or later. So,
it sounds pretty nice.
I listen. I know money's always a thing, but after hearing that, does that kind of maybe help with the price a little bit?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think about. Let me think. It was. Give me the number again.
$1,350 per season per person
per season. I'm trying to think about if you did your own tailgate, and all that it would go into it per person per season. I feel like all the effort and work plus the amount of maybe food and buffet. I mean, you probably come pretty close to about being similar. I'm not saying it's the same. I'm saying similar. So, it doesn't sound too bad. I can tell you right now, it's not in our budget.
It's not in our budget either, but this is something I would love to experience just kind of as an investigative journalist type of thing, just because I want to see I'm intrigued by the overhead open air view of that. And I'm assuming it's overhead because that's where the club is, but we don't know the full nuances of everything yet. And I'm sure, things may change.
Now, how much do I have to pay to climb the rickety scaffolding to get on top of the hitting complex, the makeshift wall seats over there?
E2C Network will not be endorsing such behavior here. That is my full stance on this. But
we did it for a super regional, so I'm just saying maybe that's an option for on the cheaper side.
It's a little bit further back, though. I'm just going to say it's a little bit further back.
It's a different view. You're right.
It's a much different view. I will be down there sweating with everybody else at Tiger Talk. So there you go. There's the 984 Club game day tailgate for you to consider and your wallet to consider as well. All right, let's talk a little bit of schedule news. It feels like every episode, we have schedule news here, and we are going to inform you always when we can about the other programs for Auburn sports that deserve your attention. And one of those, hey, is swimming and diving. If you didn't know, we are quite the recognition in the swimming and diving world. As Austin continues to look around the room, he's making me worried.
I used to have a swim cap in here, but I can't find it.
Were you going to put that on live here?
Probably not, but I was going to show it to you.
That actually
I don't know where that swim cap is. My dad's probably listening. He might know where it is.
I need next time we do this show to see Austin.
I've got one. I've got an Auburn swim cap, and it looks almost just like this helmet in swim cap form.
I need that next time. All right. Well, with that, before I start imagining what that's going to look like, let's talk about the schedule a little bit, and so you can be aware of it. This obviously goes across multiple months when you are doing swimming and diving season. I'm going to actually pull it over here so I can see it a little bit better on my screen. Starts in October 3rd with the orange and blue meet. I'm going to give you just a few of the things, not all of it. We'll probably put this up on screen for everybody. And it's going to run till March 25th through the 28th, which will end with nationals. Now, here's some important things for Auburn to remember. Auburn fans remember, there's a lot of opportunities to come see Auburn in the swimming and diving complex. You have got West Florida on October 10th. You have got, where did it go? Right down here. Oh, the rest of them are after winter here, which would be Florida on January 16th. You have got the Auburn Invite on February 6th and 7th, and the Last Chance Meet on February 27th and 28th. But here's something I want to propose to Auburn people after having been there myself for away meets for Auburn. Atlanta, Georgia is a hotbed for Auburn people and the family. There are several opportunities this year for you, the Auburn family, to go see them at the Georgia Tech Dual Meet Invite, October 17th through the 18th, Georgia Tech Invite from November 13th through the 15th. And then, folks, the championships for all of this is going to be taking place in Atlanta, Georgia, I would assume at Georgia Tech's campus at the end of the season as well. So I'm already making plans, Austin, if it works out schedule-wise, to go to some of these, because you need to go. I know most people don't think of that, but I think people take for granted how exciting a swim and diving meet can get, especially when you watch the Olympics before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And look, something, for those with little kids or families and that we're always looking for in the heat and in the cold, it's indoors. So it's an easy thing to go see. I've been a couple times here at the Auburn Swimming and Dive Complex, but we're definitely going to try and go more and get the kids out of the house and go see it. I think they'd really love it. But I think it's cool that there's plenty of opportunities that abound. It's just like basketball. There's plenty of opportunities to meet the Auburn family where they're at and get to go see some of these programs. And hey, it's even better that it's at Georgia Tech, because apparently we just desire to be them. So I'm excited to be over there, and we wish we were them. So that's good that we'll get to go over there and experience what they do.
Thank you for reminding me of that. We need to talk about that in another segment here in just a second. But I'll tell you my only disappointment with this schedule, and we got it last year, so I can't complain too much, is that the Auburn and Alabama swim and diving meet won't happen in Auburn this year. It'll be in Tuscaloosa. They seem to alternate whenever the Iron Bowl is here.
I know.
The Rust Bowl, as I call it, because what happens when you put iron in water? It rusts. Come on. Now, listen,
I can't get behind
know
this
that's
one.
good.
I cannot get behind this one.
Why? It makes so much sense. It's so clever. The Rust Bowl. It's a playoff of the Iron Bowl swimming and diving. Come on.
Oh, man.
You're just
the
mad
Rust
you didn't come up with it first.
It sounds like one of the late 80s bowl games that like nobody cares about.
Probably so. All right. Well, there's your swimming and diving schedule. I'll move on before Austin gives me more grief about my names for Iron Bowl events in different sports. All right. Let's wrap up with some Auburn practice and just Auburn discussions as we sit in the middle of fall practice. There's a smattering of things here. I'm going to throw us a little curveball here and start off with this because you led off with this during a different segment. I hear that we want to be Georgia Tech. Is that what you hear as well, Austin?
That's word on the street. Is that we just wish we were Georgia Tech. Look, it's a long line of things. If you're not familiar, some talking heads in the Atlanta area are all feeling good about themselves as the Yellow Jackets this year, and can't imagine why Eric Singleton would have come to Auburn and all the things that could possibly go wrong at Auburn and all the things. Whatever. I'm sorry, it's Rec Tech till we die, and I just I sent it to some of my friends and I said, we cannot be at this state with Auburn football. Like I'm ready for Auburn football to go out there this year and shut some people up, because I cannot have the nerds of Georgia Tech calling us out about all the things. Like, I cannot be taking crap from Georgia Tech. This is not going to happen.
There's no crap being taken here, because this is the most stupid thing that I've ever heard in my life. Like, in no world does this is like Ole Miss fans over projecting. Sorry, I'm gonna stir them up now. That they're somehow on the same level of Auburn over talking about the history. If you want to like cherry pick a small window of time, which is what they're doing right now, and say, yeah, during this 5-year period, you might want to go to Georgia Tech over Auburn. Okay, well, let's talk about the history of it. And Georgia Tech's got a pretty decent history too. People will choose Auburn. Now, if we're going to talk about engineering schools, we got some comparable discussions, and this is where I purposely kicked over the Yellow Jacket nest this week on social media, and alluded that ours was a little bit better. Boy, that got them nerds stirred up. Man. I knew exactly what I was doing, and they got fired up. It was so good. You would have thought it was Fire Ants and not Yellow Jackets, but yeah, that was a fun thing this week that I didn't anticipate us hearing something from Georgia Tech. Come on, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just if that's where the state we're at, then I need things to turn around quickly here. But look, this is another opportunity for my petition that I want that game back.
Yes.
I want that game back. I've said it before. One time we did some random realignment segment. We talked about this. That is the non-conference Power 5 game I would take. If we got to go to 10 Power 5 games, and you play your conference and then you take 2 more, that's the one I want every year. Now, they're not going to do it, even though they're all high and mighty, because they already played Georgia, but I would take that one in a heartbeat. I would love to have that game back. We have talked about Rec Tech parades, and I would love to see those come back in that tradition. Yes. Maybe they're feeling so good about themselves. Maybe we'll get it back, and then they'll quickly wish they had.
I'll be honest with you, and I've said this before. I think Auburn and Georgia Tech should play every year in as many sports as possible, and we do that in baseball. We do that swimming and diving a lot.
Makes too much sense.
With basketball, it needs to be happening. It needs to be happening. There's too much. I call it connective tissue between these two universities. It needs to happen today, even just to kind of put them back in their place where they belong, and just stop saying silly things on the radio and on the internet. Okay, other stuff from this week. We're going to just step more into controversial things. Look, this week, folks, please, I just stress you, do your own research before you react to headlines, before you react to statements, and to think too much about things. I know that you're chomping at the bit for the season. I know that you're ready for football to get played, but please, please, please do some critical thinking. And what I'm referencing is this obsession this week, which I'm still flabbergasted about what people find wrong with the play calling responsibilities, the way it was laid out first by Derek Nix when he was interviewed this week, and then clarified. And we're going to play that clip from the university, from the athletic department here in just a second, with Hugh Freeze and how it carries on. Derek Nix being the offensive coordinator, Kent Austin, the quarterback coach, gets involved on third downs, and Hugh Freeze, the offensive-minded head coach, has complete override. Who would have thunk it, right? All right, so let's watch the clip, and I'll let you have some commentary, and then we'll move on from it, because I know we've probably exhausted that. So here it is right now.
In charge of the game plan, but man, there's no staff that it's not a collaboration on the plan. And I offensively or defensively reserve the right to say on the call sheet, I don't really like that one right here. But he does a great job for us. Kent kind of leads the third down plan. But other than that, Nix kind of leads the charge and has the play calling duties, with me reserving the right to say, hey, I go over on defense, and during the when we're on defense, to do head coaching duties and do the same thing there and say, I think you ought to, give me a hole player here. Or I don't tell DJ a whole lot, but there's times I can see what I think offenses are doing, and I say, hey, man, I think we need to cloud this. But that's the way it'll be this year. And while I'm doing that, they're the offensive guys led by Nix are talking about the next series and what we should do. And usually there's another TV timeout or something, so I have time to get back on and say, all right, what are y'all thinking? Yes, I like all of that.
When it comes to talking to Jack.
All right, for the sake of time there, I'm going to pull this out. But he goes on to ask, and who talks to quarterback, Indy
yeah.
Jackson Arnold, about who talks to him. Hey, he says both do it, but the play comes from him, but that play is coming from the offensive coordinator. Look, I know what people are saying. This is too complicated, but y'all do realize this is how it happens a lot. There is a trickle down effect from the head coach, no matter what. And especially if they're on defense, it would happen this way as well. The guy where his specialty is going to insert himself into those opportunities to override if it need be. I know you probably agree with me on this, but am I missing something on the obsession and just frustration people seem to have this week about this?
I don't think so. I think it's a non-issue, truthfully. I think when it first came out with Nick's talking about it earlier this week, I was reading some people I trust that are involved with college football, have been involved before, and said this is how it works in the vast majority of Power 5 programs. This is not something new. This is not Auburn's, reinventing the wheel or anything here. This is how it works on the inside. And Hugh says that right there. And I just think that it's another thing people just want to find something to take a bite out of and run with. And I totally understand. I want to say this. I totally understand the frustration with where Auburn football has been for the past couple of years. It's not what any of us want. It's not what any of the players or the coaches want. But to just nitpick at every single little thing that comes out is not worth it, and it's not valid a lot of the times. And so, I could also say I'm not going to go into it for the sake of time, but I could also say I think that there's some similar to the bowl game discussion from the golf tournament we had. You could argue there's some line where you just say, like, why are we even putting this out in the public, getting into this? Like, just go with it like everybody else does. And our primary play caller is Derek Nix. He's our offense coordinator. That's going to be it. Like, we don't need to know all the ins and outs and the PR of it would be a lot better. But at the end of the day, it's not worth getting all worked up about on either side. And it's just going to work how it is. So, look, I'm already prepped and ready for the third down call in the first quarter against Baylor with 5 minutes to go. Oh, well, let me look up and see who calls third down plays. Oh, it's his fault. Or the second down play call in the fourth quarter with 12 minutes left. Oh, well, why? We need to switch this around because third down works better than second down. It's going to be exhausting. So just everybody chill out. Everybody just chill out and be ready for a good season and a fun season.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, folks. Look, I know you're ready. Just please, I'm begging you, for your benefit, for the team's benefit, just step back, take a breath. Don't just react to headlines. Do your research. Make sure you go read or listen to clips. They're out there. We provide a lot. That's what provided through the athletic department for you. Before you form an opinion, you go post it on social media or message boards and all those things.
It's a tall ask. But
it is a very tall ask, I know, but some of you need to try it sometime for your own benefit. Last thing really quickly, and I think it's important for us to address these things. Something we've been following throughout fall camp is the status of Malcolm Simmons. Just to retract back a little bit, he was involved in a domestic violence incident, allegedly, back later in the summer, and then right close to the beginning of fall camp. There was a lot of speculation around it, a lot of things said, once again, talking about people overreacting and saying things they shouldn't a little bit too early. And also, even after the fact, I'll say some of you are pretty disgusting, the things that you'll reference, about people being paid off and stuff like that. Until you can prove some of those things, I just would kind of keep your mouth shut, because it doesn't look good on you. It doesn't look good on Auburn. You're not really helping anything, and it's not productive in any way. But what we're referencing here, just to kind of bring the story for now and hopefully for good to a conclusion, Malcolm Simmons not only was cleared by the Title IX office of Auburn, not the athletics department, but from higher up on them, but now all charges have been dropped on him and he looks good to go for the season. My assumption, and I think, I don't remember him saying anything, that being the coaches or anything, but I would imagine there's still some disciplinary actions that are happening in regards to being even involved in this situation, or just not even maybe disciplinary, but monitoring of, hey, you were involved in something. We got to at least kind of keep a close eye on you now. But the point is, it's cleared. It's done. It's over with as far as we know for the purpose of the season. Malcolm Simmons looks good to go. I know it's encouraging, right, as a fan, but also we want to be cautious about this situation because I'm sure there's things we don't know.
That's at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. There's things we don't know, things we're not privy to, things that aren't our business. Certainly okay to have a passionate plea and a passionate opinion about those situations and how they should be handled. In general, we don't know the specifics of this one, and we likely won't. And so I think that, we have to trust that the right things are being done by all parties involved is how this goes through. And for now, that looks like Malcolm Simmons is going to get to play this season, or at least to start the year here. So we'll see if we hear any more about this. But like you said, purely from a football perspective, it's good news for Auburn and this Auburn offense.
Yes, certainly. We're all excited for what he can potentially do with the offense this year, and hopeful that this is just a growing and learning opportunity for him and for others on the team as well. That how quickly your opportunities that you've been given can be out of reach for you. So we'll watch how that goes for the season and anything else that happens for him. So that's going to do it for potpourri, all of that news and stuff. There are plenty of other things that we just didn't have time to get to today because we're going to have to be honest here in our first main topic. You and I are going to have to be good and use our time wisely with this, as we found out going through each of the positions over the last several weeks. We couldn't do this in all one fell swoop. We are doing our season preview for 2025 Auburn football. Granted, this is out, we're going to do the first half today, and this is weeks in advance of some of these. And when next week we do the second half, it'll be months in advance of all of those things. So keep that in mind. These are just quick overview thoughts, previewing the games, and we're going to give you a prediction on who at this current time, sitting 2 weeks out from 1 week out, 1.5 from the season starting, what we think. So we'll go game by game, quick thoughts, prediction. Let's do it. Game number 1, Austin, on our preview for the 2025 season. Just a little bit early. We have got a matchup with the Baylor Bears. Just some food for thought for you to maybe chew on for us a little bit, Austin. Some things to think about, or anything else that you want to add to the menu for us on this wonderful Baylor game. Not only will it be the first game of the season, you've got the blackout, and as announced this week, the chrome out, because they're bringing back their chrome gold helmets for the very first time in a long time, which is obviously got them jazzed up. Because I got family messages in the family group text about this week. That's how excited some of these Baylor folks are for this chrome edition and the blackout. And also, I don't think it's going to be a big factor, but Walker White is obviously a transfer from Auburn over to Baylor now, as things currently stand. What are your initial quick overview of Baylor Auburn? What you got?
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I mean, it's what we've seen in the last several years of these kind of stranger, not as common Power 5 matchups Auburn's getting to do home and homes with. We've talked at length about Penn State and Cal and those kind of things. This one is another one in there that kind of follows that trend. I like it. Kyle and I have talked about it before. We have family ties to Baylor, and so that adds another element for both of us. But I think a lot of people have that affinity toward it. It's not quite as it's in the middle of Texas, so it's far, but it's not quite as far as Penn State, not quite as far as Cal, obviously. And so I think you'll see a huge Auburn contingent out there, but it's an exciting one. I think there's two programs that you could view are similar, have had highs and highs of each and lows of each, but kind of in a similar spot toward rebuilding and trying to figure out how to gain some momentum to move in the right direction. Baylor has an exciting quarterback in Sawyer Robertson, and the Big 12 is wide open. And so I've seen a lot of people say, well, if somebody's going to win it, it might just be Baylor. And I think it certainly could be. As far as the game on the field, I think it's going to be a really exciting matchup for two teams, like I just said, trying to figure it out. Two teams who probably don't know a lot about what the other has, both decently young, but has talent across the board. And I think it will be interesting for the eyes of college football world to be on Auburn Baylor on a Friday night to kick off the season. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think we've talked about how it's on a Friday and how that got moved earlier this year. I just love that this is the marquee game to kind of kick it all off, because I think a lot of people will view it as that kind of toss up. The line has been moving back and forth a lot lately, and it's all right there close to each other. So I think it's going to be a really exciting game and a really good one to start the season on.
And I think you've got two coaches as well who need to prove some stuff to their fan bases. And I think that's a fair statement to say. And because Coach Freeze has even said that it's time to go out there and win. And I think this is a great way to do that, where the eyes of college football will be on you there. There's a lot of pressure on this game, but I think some of the overstatements about the season hinges on this game is just a little bit drastic. Is it important? Absolutely. Does it set you up for success for the rest of the season? Absolutely. But I've just seen a lot of this talk, and it's being pushed in certain areas that the season absolutely hinges on this one game. I'm like, I don't know that I'd go that far with you on that one. It certainly is important, just as any other game is, but there's a lot of fervor for the on their field results to happen, and certainly this is the first time that can happen. Prediction: Auburn or Baylor? Who you got?
I think Auburn wins. My mom is not going to like it, but I think Auburn. I'm just kidding. She doesn't mind. She pulls for Auburn when the Bears aren't playing. So and this is one our family's had circled for a while to get to see in person. I'm going. I'm excited. But I think Auburn will win. I think the talent level probably is in favor of Auburn. It's a road game, and it's Auburn figuring out some things with their quarterback and how the offense meshes against a different opponent for the first time. But I'm going to pick Auburn to win it.
In a very close matchup on a Friday night with the eyes of college football, and the phrase we've used a lot here, I say Auburn wins by the skin of their teeth and gets out of Waco with a W to start the season, which brings us game number 2. Again, we're giving you a little bit early predictions, just a quick overview of Auburn versus now Ball State. Now, I would be honest with you, Austin. One of the first games that I remember going to was Auburn versus Ball State. And I remember as even a little kid, like, who names their school Ball State? Like, what is, I'm sure there's big meaning of it. I'm not trying to be disparaging. We do have plans on the books to have somebody from Ball State on our show, and I'll be on theirs as well. Believe it or not, it's been on the books for a while. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting more involved, and I'll probably ask some of those questions here. The real big stories out of this one, though, first home game, the Pat Dye celebration game for his legacy here. And we've already talked about that a little bit on previous shows. A night game. You know what that means. A full day of tailgating for your first time on campus for the season for football. There's so much to be excited about this. Again, juxtapose that with what's happened in the previous game. You put your own prediction in there. What happens, win or lose. I know coming home, and this evening homecoming is just exciting thing just in and of itself.
Yeah, the first game, no matter if it's going to be the week 1 or not, is always exciting. There'll be Let me tell you, and to those who think this is not true, it will be full. No matter what happens on the week 1, there are people that are excited to be back in Auburn and be back in Jordan-Hare. That we've talked about before. These are the games too where a lot of families get to come that maybe don't get to come to later in the year. So it will be a full game. It will be a fun day at Auburn, no matter what happens in week 1. But I do think that Auburn will be able to come into this with some high spirits after a win in Waco. And like you said, a really cool night to have the Pat Dye reunion and celebration game. And a lot of former players. I'm sure there's some really special things planned for that night. So love that it's all day. Anticipation of it, and get to wait until that night. It's the fan choice color game, so you get to wear whatever you want to wear.
Just craziness.
6:30 kickoff, and Jordan-Hare, there is truly nothing better.
I'm going to wear my bright pink E2C Network shirt so everybody can find me. You said whatever we want to wear, so I'm going to.
Oh my gosh.
Now, in reality, there's so much to like about this game. Whether you're coming in with a win or a loss, by our predictions, we have a win coming out of Baylor. We'll see how that works out. But this is a great, exciting way to kick off the season against an opponent that you should beat. So prediction?
Yeah, win.
Win. I think it's pretty obvious here where we should be sitting at this current time for the specific game. Game number 3 on our early 2025 Auburn football preview and prediction. Homecoming, South Alabama. Looks like one team in the state is not afraid to play the in-state schools that are of some prominence other than them. Won't talk about the other one, but Auburn versus South Alabama. The Jaguars coming to town for the first time ever. Am I correct?
No, sure.
I could be wrong.
I don't know. I'd have to ask Clint Richardson and see his graphic, but it doesn't sound far off.
I think that is correct, but somebody's going to correct me in the comments now and tell me how wrong I am. Either way, homecoming. The big thing around this is homecoming weekend. You and I are going to gush about this beforehand, afterhand, how much we love homecoming weekend. Yes, y'all are going to have to put up with videos of the parade, of the homecoming corps, all that kind of stuff. It's a great, the floats, all that stuff. But put that aside. The focus is about coming home. It is going to be a daytime game, which means in September going to be warm, most likely, unless we are blessed and so overly blessed with just that whiff of fall air. I don't think it's
bank on it.
I know, but I'm just just not God's got other things that He's worried about other than us having good weather in a football game. But I'm just going to put a little bit of request out there for that. That'd be great.
I mean, I was still going to be in my prayers.
But anyway, homecoming. What else are you thinking about this game, or is this as simple as that about celebrating being home?
Yeah, it is. I don't think it's nothing. We all remember the Jacksonville State game several years ago, and how these games can go, especially when it's teams inside the state and like we talk about with basketball and baseball all the time, that it will mean something a little bit more. This is not just a lesser team coming to play. This is an in-state team. There will be plenty of people from South Alabama in the stands. It's just how it's going to play out. But Auburn should win and should handle South Alabama once the clock hits 0. I do think that the morning game is not fun. 11:45. At least you have to wear white, so maybe that'll help as the sun scorches our hairs off our head. But sorry about that. Homecoming. It's always a fun day, and we will be out bright and early to look at the floats on our morning walk. So if you take away nothing else, do that.
Yes, absolutely. I hope we'll have great weather because last year's weather was a little.
It'd be great to have good weather.
Although a little overcast might help, so maybe that's what we want.
Yeah.
A little overcast. That's
just
about
rain at like 3:00.
Perfect. I love it. And we want to see the floats. We want to have the parade. We don't want all of that to be messed up.
I love the floats.
Prediction time: Auburn, South Alabama homecoming.
Yeah, Auburn will win. Auburn will beat the Jags.
Yeah, I got the Auburn winning this one as well. Shouldn't be a surprise. You're expected to win that. Not a guarantee, as we've talked about, but that's our win, our win that we're predicting and expecting at this point early in the season.
3-0.
Continuing with game 4. Wow. Game 4 of the 2025 early predictions and preview. We're going on the road in the SEC. For the very first time, Auburn travels to Norman, Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold returns to Norman, Oklahoma to face his old team. First SEC game, first away SEC game. No matter how you slice this, there are big implications around this game. And boy, what a way to start the season. This is the beginning of Auburn's probably toughest stretch, and I think Oklahoma's got this one marked on their calendar. Is there reason for trepidation, even several weeks early from this, Austin?
Sure. I mean, I think it's going to be a pretty difficult game for Auburn in Norman. Like you already mentioned, the big storyline we will hear from the minute South Alabama game ends to all the way to September 20th, which it will be that Jackson Arnold is going back to Oklahoma. It'll be nonstop. I think that both head coaches are in a similar spot. So like we talked about with Dave Aranda and Baylor, I think Brent Venables really needs some good momentum to continue in the high favors at Oklahoma. I think they're expecting big things as well this year. And so there's going to be a lot riding on this game. I don't know Oklahoma's first 3 games, but I would imagine, if the prediction we've already laid out for Auburn goes that way, that both teams will be kind of already in a groove, and we'll enter this one wanting to start the SEC schedule 1-0. I think that this game will be one of the bigger ones of the day, regardless of the storylines, just because it's the SEC and it's Auburn, Oklahoma. I think both are highly talented. So flex game, Lord knows what that means. We've already all talked about that. We'll find out 2 weeks out from it what time it is, but I'd imagine I could see this one being a primetime game, especially if Auburn and Oklahoma are having the years that we think they might.
Yeah, I think it's dependent upon that. The story with Jackson Arnold there is going to play really well for that. But it also could be, some people will consider primetime that 2:30 slot as well.
Certainly.
So it's going to be one of those games that people are going to be checking into because they know it's probably one of the, even if Auburn had a few struggles, Oklahoma had the story with Jackson Arnold returning, who made the better choice, all that kind of thing is going to be playing around it. Your predictions, sir, and way too or a little bit early.
Yeah, I don't want to skip ahead to A&M, but I was sitting here thinking, and I think one of these will be a loss. I think I'm going to pick this one to be the loss. I think that there will probably, like we know what momentum and what kind of the energy of a stadium can be when there's a lot kind of extra into it. And I think Oklahoma will I don't think Auburn will necessarily get blown out or struggle too much. I think Jackson Arnold can still have a really good game. I just think that this might be Auburn's first stumbling block here. That's what my gut tells me that.
I echo some questions about these next two games, but I'm opposite from you.
There you
think
go.
Auburn beats Oklahoma for the very first time in Norman, and kind of sets up a very, very exciting start to the Auburn's 2025 season. So there's our predictions. This is where it really starts getting dicey, and people can go back and clip these things now.
That's right.
Here we are. All right, game 5 of our early 2025 Auburn football game previews and predictions. We are now with Auburn going back to Kyle Field. And boy, have there been some fun games at Auburn and Kyle Field. Usually, at least to start off this series, when they came to the SEC, it was the away team wins, which used to bode well for you. So take that for what you will. It's changed a little bit since then, but Auburn's had a lot of success there. Got a lot of pivotal implications on this game in terms of what happens at Oklahoma. And as we already addressed, you already had to start at Oklahoma. Then you got to go straight over to Kyle Field to start your SEC play. That is a tough stretch. So I do expect, and I don't think you'll disagree with this, Auburn, whether it's a win or loss before the game, will be kind of, I won't say beat up, but like they'll be tired. They'll just had their first mega matchup of the year, in terms of SEC competition. What are you thinking about this a little bit early?
Sure. Yeah. I think, I don't know who A&M plays for, but I think they'll be probably a SEC play will have already started for them as well. So I definitely see both of the teams maybe being, a taste of what SEC football is in 2025 already. It's an afternoon game in the Texas heat. I think that's normally when Auburn plays over there. And so it should look very similar. I think that Auburn will, when you look back at what the A&M game was last year, there'll be a lot of talk about that coming into the year on Auburn pulling off the upset and quadruple overtime and remembering on that game. I'm sure it'll be fresh on both fan bases' minds.
It really is for the team, according to what was said at SEC Media Days.
Certainly. And so, this one's circled for a lot of Aggies. I think Auburn should have this one circled as well because it'll be tough. But one, too, where Jackson Arnold, will return again to Texas and get to play in front of family and friends. So, Auburn A&M, like you alluded to, whether it be in College Station or in Auburn, has had some classic games and good games. I think this one will be similar, win or loss for Auburn.
So I'm going to leave it to you then. What's your prediction?
Yeah, I kind of referenced it with we talked about Oklahoma. I think one of these will be a loss. I picked Oklahoma to be the loss, but I think Auburn wins this game. I think Auburn. I'm not as high on A&M as some other people going into the season. They still have Marcel Reed and they still have a lot of talented guys, and Mike Elko's done well. I just think he had a really impressive first year. I think it might come down a little bit back in year 2, and I think Auburn's got a primed opportunity to take advantage of that.
Well, and if you think about it too, there's always this discussion of what are you inheriting, and certainly the cupboard was not bare with what Jimbo left there, and so Jimbo didn't use a lot of that, but
paid for it, but didn't use it.
Yeah. Didn't pay for it, but didn't use a lot of it. But anyway, I'm a actual win here. I'm sorry, loss.
Yeah,
I had that backwards. I did Oklahoma win. I'm a loss here. I do think just my predictions are correct and Auburn starts off 4-0, there's going to be riding a little bit of high here, but that took a lot out of them. And then Texas A&M has got this extra little bit of motivation after last year, and I think they could be due somewhere on this road trip. But I think it's Texas A&M for a loss. So you and I are different a little bit so far, but at least we're at the same record with our predictions thus far, which brings us to go ahead. Sorry.
Let's pause right there on the bye week. I just want to get your take on this. We're going into the bye week here then on October 4th. 4-1. We both say 4-1. We differ on which one. Would you lock it in right now?
No. This is our early predictions. I'd like another week to think on it, which is what I granted you as well in the thing. But are you ready to lock that in?
No, I'm not ready to lock it in. Sorry, I meant more like, would you take that right now?
Oh, would I take that? Oh, yeah, yes. Would I take 4-1 after the start you have an SEC play? That's That's a reasonable.
No, certainly not
expectation.
locking it in. I could flip flop on Oklahoma and A&M all day, but I think that I would take it as well. I think depending on which one it is, you said Oklahoma, I said A&M. Going into that bye week, I think a lot of people now there's going to be. I can't deal with some of you who are just like nothing's perfect. Of course, we all want to win every game. Okay, like let's just sidestep that. But I think going into that bye week, if it is the Oklahoma game, then you go on the road in College Station and win. I think a lot of spirits going to be high going into the next week. So I just wanted to ask your opinion on that real quick.
No, I'm glad you threw that in there as well, because certainly that is something that we need to talk about. It's the reassessment time for the bye week, which brings us to Game 6 and the final game in our first half early preview and prediction show for Auburn's 2025 Auburn football season. Auburn versus Georgia, the Deep South's oldest rivalries. Adults who bark and wear a lot of red and black are invading Auburn for the first time in what I think is 2 decades at night for a nighttime matchup in the Auburn game. I think it's almost 2 decades since Auburn and Georgia played in Jordan-Hare at nighttime. I could be wrong.
I think it was 2012. I just remember it because it was awful, but I'm pretty
so
sure
maybe it has only been just
13
over a decade.
years, but a long time.
Math is math.
Yeah.
The Georgia Tech fans are going to get on me now. See, I told y'all Auburn couldn't do math. I never professed to be an engineer, but I do. I'm proud of our engineers.
Me neither.
All right. Big time night matchup. Auburn, Georgia. It's always a big one. They struggle, at least even against Auburn teams they shouldn't have in Jordan-Hare. People have called it a nightmare. Georgia and Kirby have spoken about that. And a certain thing that I'm going to throw in here too, maybe the last annual game if things don't change.
Stop it.
I know. I'm just gonna. I think some Auburn people need to reconcile with that if things don't change in the scheduling. Anyway, aside from that, what do you got? Auburn, Georgia. I mean, just in terms of thoughts, and then if you want a prediction.
Huge game, right? Huge game. When it came out, a month ago, we talked about it. Huge game for it to be at night, smack middle of the season. Fresh off of a long time of Auburn not being at home and on the road, and then the bye week, massive game. Georgia has question marks, right? Like Gunnar Stockton is presumed the quarterback, hasn't had a lot of experience. Will come into Jordan-Hare and experience that at night for the first time in full force. If our predictions are where they're at and it's 4-1 going, or 4-1 going into this game. I don't think even if it's less, if it's we'll say 3-2 or something like that, I still think this game will be packed out. It will be very similar to me as an atmosphere of what A&M was like last year, because I think people are jazzed about a night game of the Deep South's oldest rivalry, as they should be.
Yeah.
And Auburn will have every opportunity to do it. I want to say too, it's wear orange. I'm just making sure the color code is remembered here.
Red.
So clashes with red maybe makes them blend in a little bit. Who knows? But I think it's going to be absolutely electric. I cannot wait for it. It will be awesome.
Bonkers, man. Real quick note, and I've seen somebody in our chat wrote about this too. A lot of you are making a mistake just because you see pictures at night. It's not a night game. That means because that time of the year it gets dark.
In November,
the game.
It was used
to be aware of that. Yep. And that may be I'm 90% sure it's not. There you go.
I'm 99. Yeah.
There you go. So just always keep that in mind when you see pictures at night. It doesn't necessarily mean the game was truly a night game. But for your prediction, sir, I agree with everything you said. But what's your prediction?
Yeah, I'm going to say a win. I think Auburn finds a way to finally beat the Dogs after 8 years here, a long 8 years, and I think it has to do with Georgia being a little bit on a lower year. I still think they will do really well this year. They have all the talent in the world. We all know that Kirby can get them in there. But I think Auburn with this, I will not bet against Jordan-Hare at night when the Auburn family's got something to holler about. And so I think that Auburn wins here. That's an upset, and it'll be a big one. I'm going to say College Game Day's in town. And I'm going to say College Game Day's in town.
Love it.
I think College Game Day, maybe they don't have an affinity toward Auburn sometimes, but I think they know they will get a crowd with an Auburn-Georgia game at night. And I think College Game Day shows up. Auburn pulls it off. And it's a big time game.
It's set up for it very nicely for it to happen. I unfortunately will differ from you. I think in a heartbreaker, Auburn loses this one. So I will be at 4-2 on the year. with our early predictions for this one. You have us at 5-1. I like yours better, but I'm just I've thinking about next week and thinking about some other things, and I'm trying to figure out where I land on some things. So I'm going to say they lose to the Georgia Bulldogs, sadly. But once again, it's a nightmare at night for the Georgia Bulldogs to play Auburn in Jordan-Hare Stadium. I'm going to do a little bit of actual question here live. This is normally stuff we do behind the scenes. You got time for our second segment?
I just saw the time.
We can go quickly through it, but you can do the audibles, sir. If you
I'm good. Let's
all right.
Let's move through it. But I think we'll have something to talk to you. And I think people enjoy this.
Yeah, this is one we want to do. We certainly could put off another week, but I think we always want to give you the fan experience here, and you got to be informed about what you could get here. So what we do most years is we give you a fall weekend preview, meaning what fall weekends that are good for you, the Auburn person, to be aware of. Not just out football. Yes, we're going to be heavy emphasis on what's happening around football here, but we do this for the winter typically if it warrants it. Same thing for spring. So this is for you, your benefit, the Auburn family. Keep in mind, this is what we currently know at the time of these, where we're sitting here on August 17th. And a lot has already come out, but there are things about the men's basketball and the women's basketball schedule that haven't come out yet. Gymnastics as well, that overlaps with this a little bit. So there are things like that. You always need to be checking about what's going on in Auburn and Opelika for the tourism team, the Auburn club teams, other schedules. Is there going to be a tip off at Toomers? Is there going to be other winter sports that collide? Anything for fall ball, for baseball and softball? Fall is it's busy, y'all.
Yeah.
So many things that you can even do around town. So here's what I've done. I've given Austin a list here, and we're not going to go through every single weekend for the sake of time, but I have at least given us the full list to look at, and I have bolded or highlighted a few that I think are warranted. And I've actually got a ranking in my mind of the ones that Auburn need to be aware of. But let's be honest. No matter what else is going on, the Iron Bowl weekend always takes the cake, right? Can we just agree on that, Austin? It's the most important weekend out of the schedule for Auburn fans to be involved.
Sure. There's not as much to, the Iron Bowl is the focus, and we come off Thanksgiving. That is what happens. If you want to throw Black Friday shopping in downtown Auburn, you can do that.
He will benefit from the tax dollars.
Bring it on. And so, I think that's the case. I think there's a case to be made for some other ones that people probably wouldn't think about too. So I would like to hear, go ahead and give let's give your rankings, and then let's hit some of the biggest ones.
Maybe I shouldn't have said rankings, but I'm just going to give you this. I'm going to go and start from the top here. This is, I think, the most important, not just weekend, but weekend stretch, 2 weekends in a row that Auburn folks need to be aware of. And we just got done doing our preview of the first half of the football season. This includes this. The weekends of October 10th to the 12th also butted up with the weekends of October 17th through the 19th. So let's start with the first one. Here are some of the things that I have listed that are going on. And keep in mind, in this list I gave Austin, there are some things that are quote unquote away, but they are in the vicinity, near-ish, that you may want to keep in mind, just if you're an Auburn person that lives near some of these areas. Here are some of the things that are going on. And these are sometimes the week too. So it's all a moving science here. For the weekend of the October the 10th through the 12th, there will be the ITA regionals going on in Tuscaloosa, as well as a soccer match in Tuscaloosa that you need to be aware of. But on campus or nearby, swim versus West Florida. We just did that one. That's your first crack at seeing Auburn at home, the swimming and diving team. You've got ice hockey, the club team. That's going to be, they have their matches in Columbus versus Georgia. Yes, I'm always going to say Georgia. Georgia. That's going on. You have the opportunity to go to I always get this mixed up, Feathers.
Yeah, I think it's football fans.
Football fans. Feathers. Yeah. You think the bird guy would know this from the Auburn Raptor Center show that Friday. And, those are all tentative. Keep that in mind. You've got volleyball at home versus Vanderbilt, football versus Georgia, volleyball versus Missouri, another Georgia ice hockey club team match in Columbus. And then to cap off the weekend and carries over into the next, the ITA women's tennis starts in Auburn on the 13th, carries over to the 16th. If you can't find something to get excited about as an Auburn fan on this weekend, I can't help you. So, Austin, I better see you at some of that.
It's jam packed, and like you said, it literally carries over into the next week. And so I think this is a great opportunity for you to come down, get the whole of the Auburn experience, see a bunch of things you probably wouldn't see because they're all right nearby. So, and Columbus, like, it's not that far. It is a quick drive. It's an easy drive, and the convention center over there is a nice venue. I haven't been to an Auburn club hockey game. I would love to. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. But they're, as a big advocator of club sports at Auburn, the ice hockey team has got it going on. They've got it figured out, and it feels like a very real atmosphere over there. So I think that'd be a cool event to get to.
The Georgia game is what you're all coming for. We understand.
Sure.
That. But this is a good opportunity for you to invest in some of those other places too, especially if you're from the Columbus area. Go do that. Start your weekend off with the ice hockey team and end it as well. If you're over there in the Columbus area, you've got volleyball here for 2 matches centered all around the Georgia weekend. It's going to be popping, all this stuff, tennis as well. And we put the Tuscaloosa thing in there because there's 2 things with Auburn and Tuscaloosa. So the Auburn family needs to go celebrate with them over there and show their support. Now, the next weekend, sir, I think that's the number 1 weekend.
Agreed.
But this carries over into the weekend of October 17th and the 19th. We already talked about carrying over from that weekend, the hosting of the ITA regional championships, I guess you would call it, for women's tennis is being hosted by Auburn. So just keep the fun times going from the weekend over and just follow that the rest of the weekend there. They have a great venue. We've always talked about how you need to go out and support not only the venue, but the team and the program out there. You got men's basketball in Birmingham for a preseason game with Oklahoma State. I know it's away, but you just need to be aware of that. It's something to keep in mind. I think it's Thursday of that week, not the weekend technically, but soccer will be playing Oklahoma at home. So another way to kind of get your weekend going. You have the Raptor Center show. I'm going to mess it up again. Sorry. Football Fans and Feathers or whatever it's called. Equestrian. I think it's their first one of the season at home versus
that sounds
Barry.
right.
And then to end the weekend, Missouri. We don't know what time yet the game's going to be. It's a flex, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, no, Austin.
Don't.
But once again, just like last weekend, there's a lot to carry over from there and a lot to get involved in on that weekend.
Yeah, lots to do. Look, just take the whole week. Just come tell work I'm
2
going
weeks.
to Auburn for the week. Don't worry about it. Come on Friday, stay till the next Sunday. It'll be great. There's plenty of stuff to do. Look, I even get it. Well, I want to stay in Birmingham for the Oklahoma State preseason game. Just come on down. There's great places to watch. You can be with the rest of the Auburn family and watch Auburn play Oklahoma State. It'll be great. But I love all those opportunities. I think it's very diversified, right? Like equestrian, you don't get a lot of opportunities to see. Those schedules don't always match up perfectly with Auburn football and equestrian. And it is a really fun time out there. It's a very family-friendly experience. So I think if you made your plans to drive your big old RV down here on October 10th and stay till October 19th, you'd have a heck of a time.
You would. Speaking of 2-week stints, we've got it again. And that's the thing I found out in making this list, Austin, is that there's 2 big chunks of 2 weekends together that you need to be aware. We just talked about the October ones. I think that is your biggest time, and hopefully the weather will be great as well. But at the very beginning of football season, first home games are back-to-back. That means 2 weekends in a row. You got November. Wow, Kyle. September. It would be nice if we started in November in some sense, but also we'd have to wait that long. September 5th through the 7th is that first weekend for a home game. And then the one after that is September 12th through the 14th. Here's that first weekend, though, the 5th through the 7th of September. They're going to do their home to the corner event with the some of the athletic department, the cheerleading, Auburn, some of the other people will be out there. If you've ever been out there, it's a fun little kind of ribbon cutting thing.
Yep.
Abby will be there. You can get your picture made with him. Bubby. Well, I stopped calling him that because you can't stop calling him.
For us, you're the only one that calls him to my face anymore, so I got to do it.
The Raptor Center show is also going to be there. Volleyball will be taking on Jackson State. The Ball State opening weekend, everything surrounding that game with the Pat Dye game. And then soccer is also going to be doing what's weird, Dunk City, Florida Gulf Coast. But in soccer, you can't really dunk.
Meg City.
What?
Meg. It's when you kick it through their legs. Meg City.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
I have no clue. So
the chat will prove me right.
The chat will prove
Meg
me right.
City.
So that's all you've got for that weekend. Let me just run through this real quick, and then I'll let you just give your thoughts on the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You got men's and women's tennis in Montgomery, not too far away. They're going to be at
Easy.
the Blue Gray Classic there. And then you've got the this is the
Football
weekend
fans
after.
and feathers. Yep.
Football fans and feathers. Homecoming weekend, parades,
Everything.
floats, homecoming court, band show, volleyball versus FSU, football versus South Alabama. This weekend will be done quick, but there's a lot jam-packed in it because of the time of the game and all that. So this is maybe one of those times where you can get a lot done, like going to events, but then maybe relax in Auburn a little bit on that Sunday after if you're staying that long.
Good point. Good point.
What sticks out to you? Anything that you want to note for fans to do?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the first weekend, especially, you can hit 3 sports really easily with volleyball, football, and soccer. Volleyball and soccer games are free. I don't say that to
right
inquire and assume that you're cost cutting, but they're easy games to get to. We were very close to going to the soccer game tonight. So they're free events, always really fun and easy. Volleyball's indoors and it's September. So, hey, that's a helpful tidbit there too, but also homecoming week. It really is a week. Like there is so much that goes on. Even just being here, like there's tons of campaigning. You will see students everywhere all the time, whether it be, restaurants hosting benefit dinners or things like that. Their students will be in their shirts campaigning all the time. And so town is just busy during homecoming week. And then you throw in the parade and the floats and all the fun part of it too. So you should never miss homecoming week. We talk about how important that is on the show a lot, but homecoming week is always special. So this is one to circle for sure too.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you on that one. But this 2-week stint here at the beginning, 2-week stint in the middle, there's this kind of outlier, and I'm just really interested at how busy or anything this weekend's going to be. We have a rare Halloween weekend, a Friday night. Usually the town does some things around Halloween. Do you know if Auburn's going to have their trick or treat thing downtown on a Friday night?
Yeah, it's always tricky with downtown. Well, it's not as bad as never mind.
No, that was a good one earlier. Don't you dare take that away from me.
It's always kind of odd. Auburn usually does on downtowns. There's like a set time you can go trick or treat downtown and all the things. On Friday night it's tricky because there's high school games in Auburn High. It's the end of the year. That's the last weekend of the regular season for high school football. Auburn High football is very big locally, and so I don't know how all that will shake out, but it's always interesting and a lot of fun. So there's certainly that, and then Kentucky the next morning. So you never know, but be on the lookout. Kyle mentioned at the top of the segment with Auburn Opelika Tourism, they will do a fantastic job with that weekend as well.
Yeah, that's something to keep in mind too for these games where Auburn High or Opelika High is games in town. You want something to do. That's kind of part of the Auburn experience as well, with those two towns being so connected to the community.
I wish I knew, because Emily and I talked about it literally the other day. I think this is not the Auburn High School Experience show, but it's
all part of Auburn.
Auburn at Opelika is the night before Ball State, the opening weekend. So you could throw that in there too. I think that is. I have never gotten to go, and I've always wanted to. But I think that is that weekend as well. So you could, Auburn High and Opelika High always have the talent. So that'd be fun to get to too.
Yeah. And like I said, they're at the top of the show.
So does Lee Scott Academy.
I didn't know if you want me to throw that in there or not. So but yes, you can certainly do that as well if you'd like to. I have some, I won't say affinity, actually rivals a little bit from school back in the day.
You could see some friendly faces out there though.
Yeah. Friendly is an operative term sometimes. Anyway, we already talked, and just to round things out real quick here, we already talked about the Iron Bowl weekend is important. Certainly there could be a case for the weekend before that as well, building up to something. You could have soccer hosting an NCAA next regional, not just the beginning of the regionals, but the next wave of the regionals before they go on to play at a neutral site.
That's right.
You've got equestrian in town. You've got football versus Mercer. Basketball, I put a question mark here. They haven't released the schedule yet, and sometimes there's a smaller game smashed in this week. It's going to be tight. I don't know if it will happen because the big matchup in Vegas will happen after that.
Correct.
Thanksgiving week. So just to keep in mind, I think this is what Austin and I want y'all to take away from this segment. There are chunks together. The beginning weekend for Auburn football, the middle with Georgia and Missouri, Kentucky for Halloween by itself, and then that end with Thanksgiving, all that stuff. it's an interesting schedule that you're going to have this year for your primary times to come. There are great things to do even off of the football weekends. We've written some of them down for our benefit. But what we want you to remember, Auburn is more than football. Auburn is more than sports. Auburn is a full experience. And if you don't do yourself the service of taking the full of it in, you are not doing the best you think you can for Auburn or for yourself. So make sure you do that if you can. Any final thoughts, sir?
Couldn't agree more. Yeah. It's any weekends in Auburn special, whether there's a home game or not, but there's plenty to do and plenty to immerse yourself in. So come take part.
Definitely do that. Another long one again for episode 138. That's my fault more than anything. I had us on a little schedule and I didn't keep us there. But here we got it all, got all the stuff that we needed to discuss this weekend and in the show in. If you want to keep up with me, do so on X at Kyle Loomis 24. E2C Network stuff across the social medias, E2CNetwork@gmail.com for emails. All of that is for you. Where can they find you, sir?
Yeah, at Austin G. Scott on X and on Instagram. It's going to be fun here. It's all coming up, so can't wait to see everybody coming down to Auburn.
Super close, and we're ready to get rolling with the fullness of the Auburn experience in the next coming weeks and months. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right, Austin, I'm going to stick around with folks for the small Q&A, but any final words that you want to have for our audience? Because I've kept you way long again, sir.
No, you're good, man. I couldn't believe it when I saw the clock. I'm good. I will find my swim cap and I will let you know what it looks like. I know it's here somewhere. I just gotta find it. I got too much junk in here. I gotta find it.
Yeah, well, junk is the operative term, but it's all good.
Yeah,
junk.
It's all good junk.
Yeah, it's good junk. It's good junk.
That's right.
All right, sir. Thanks for hanging out with us.
War Eagle. See you.
All right, War Eagle. See you. All right, folks, you're stuck with me for the rest of our time. Normally do a small Q&A if you guys need it or want it. So come on into the chat and get a little bit active. There were some things brought up throughout our stream. Just as a reminder for those of you that are here live right now and for your benefit on the replay, typically during the shows, we don't take a lot of address stuff going on in the comments unless we need to. That's just typically how those shows work. So you can get involved really quickly here at the end and we'll roll some things that you all were talking about in the chat. I want to give you some reminders while you're thinking about some of those things though, what you've got coming up here. As we've been addressing, things are about to get busy here. Tons of content, tons of things to get involved with. You always want to keep in mind though, of all the things that can change schedules and otherwise. Keep in mind Sunday nights, like you're here right now, the Auburn Experience show will be one next week as well. And every Sunday for the most part. But also Wednesday nights as well. You want to be part of Auburn Family Night. This is really the opportunity for you to take center stage. We got one scheduled for you as we count down the last few weeks before football, and it really gets started this week. So come on into the chat, join us, be part of the show, and you can even call in on those particular Auburn Family Nights. So don't be shy. We'd love to see you there hanging out in the chat or calling in, or just, you can lurk in the background and watch. It's fine. We'd love to see you there. Tons of content everywhere across all social media. If you need links, they're in the description. Hit us up on email, E2CNetwork@gmail.com. If you need a link to like a one link, it can get you everything. It's our link tree. And then something special I would always recommend is that you come on into our TikTok lives and join us those most weekdays. We're doing those somewhere in the early afternoons. All right, let's get rolling here. Yes, Hugh knows Wednesday nights are fun. I'm telling you, the amount of people that I've seen come one time, but just never made it part of their schedule to come back or whatever, they're missing out. People have never been there. Wednesday nights are really, you dictate where we go as the audience. I say it all the time. You are the puppet masters and I am the puppet. I am literally just clicking the things, bringing people up on screen, bringing comments, going where you want to go. So join us on Wednesday nights for that, just like Hugh said. A couple things here. We saw Joe, Dalton, Mr. Dennis, Scott, Stan, Felix, Sam, all of you guys, Ant as well. Thanks for joining us on this evening in the chat during the show. There's a lot of talk about, the town being full again and all the energy that comes from that from Mr. Dennis. And certainly we're excited to see that. Thanks for checking in from Albertville. Always good to see you there. And Stan brought this up during our discussions about the our frustrations with people being obsessed about how the play calling is working and things like that. Folks, once again, he's right. If the offense works, who cares? This is just something that we're all obsessing about right now. And we don't need necessarily to do that. Sam, yes, you were here during actual predictions. Now, don't think you were here for the beginning part. That is not our hard and fast predictions. Austin and I are reserving the right for one more week to alter that in any way. We will give you the second half preview and predictions, and then I will ask him one more time to lock it in. Final predictions for the 2025 Auburn football season. We'll do that. We'll do it live, if you know that reference. It's actually probably not a family-friendly reference on next week's show. Let's see. This is from Ant. He was a Notre Dame fan. How you feeling about Deuce Knight? He fooled me and my Notre Dame brethren. I wouldn't call it fooling you. It's just the name of the game in recruiting. And this is why I don't obsess about recruiting as much as others do, because you get your feelings hurt. Sorry, Ant, if you got your feelings hurt. Look, he's from the South. It makes a lot of sense that he would come here over Notre Dame. And I'm in no shade thrown at Notre Dame. I am ready for Auburn and Notre Dame to have a home and home series scheduled today. Got an open slot. I know y'all probably already got it filled up for the next 2 years after next year. So would love that. Would love that. Listen, I'm excited to have Deuce Knight here. He's not been named the starting quarterback. My take on this is you should always support whoever the head coach throws out there because he's proven, he has all the information that guy has proven to be the starting quarterback. And so any kind of fan animosity that's built towards another guy or affinity is not really, it's not productive towards the rest of the fan base. So, and I don't want to put a lot of pressure on the kid to be the savior of Auburn football if he's not ready yet. And so I just give him a lot of grace, and I give him a lot of, I just want him to feel welcome and ready to roll here at Auburn. Because I think his future is bright, as most prospects are. And there's been another great Auburn quarterback from Mississippi, Jace Campbell, that he could follow in the footsteps of, that I would be very, very excited to watch and see as well. Hugh, thank you so much for giving volleyball a shout out. I cannot stress this enough, folks. If you are not doing yourself the service of going to an Auburn volleyball match, you are missing out on a fun time. It is so good. So good. I promise you are missing out. It is a high energy sport. It's like it can get going like basketball, just the back and forth, but then it can kind of slow down for a minute and kind of do that cerebral type of baseball game where everybody's positioning themselves, bringing the right people in or out for certain situations, trying to win the set, trying to win the match, all that kind of stuff, or the get control of a slide or a, keep your momentum going type of situation. And of course we all love a good, slam, down there in their face, a nice ace. So definitely come out and support the volleyball team when you get the shot to this week, next week, and on into the fall as we broke it all down for you in the upcoming volleyball season. All right. That's all the comments and questions that have come in our time. So want to thank everybody who was here live, who watched the replay. We would love, love, love to have you here live every Wednesday night, but Sunday night. Keep in mind, if you missed part of the show, the audio version is going out live as pretty soon here. So you'll have it ready to go in the morning. Make sure you listen to it again, even if you haven't here. Support it that way. Drop a comment on Spotify. Submit a review if you can. That's always very helpful. And if, as I've said, there's 1,000 ways to contact us, direct message on social media, email E2CNetwork@gmail.com. But regardless of all that, we just appreciate you taking the time to be here, live, replay, whatever, and be part of our little family within the Auburn family. It's a long one tonight, but it was a good one. And thanks for being here on the Auburn Experience. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.